Today, we're going to be comparing the cameras on the Galaxy S23 Ultra versus the iPhone 14 Pro. I just checked into my hotel and this is how it looks like from the back. And let's do like a quick HDR test right here. So yeah, let's go grab some more samples.
One thing really quickly, the Galaxy can shoot up to 8K, whereas on the iPhone it's 4K. I don't know how useful it will be in the everyday use, but you do have that option. Now for the ultra wide, one thing to point out is the iPhone is just slightly wider, so if you are in tight spaces a lot, that can be a bit more useful, but other than that, it's not that noticeable until you put them side by side. Now let's talk about colors. A lot of the images you'll see, the Galaxy is just a lot more vibrant. Things do stick out like the greens, the browns, the blues, so you can easily see that, whereas on the iPhone, it's more dull. Sometimes the whole image leans towards the bluish side or even green, so that's something I never really liked on the iPhone. But if you do want something that's really easy to share straight to the socials, then the Galaxy is already ready for that. And there are random times where the iPhone looks more saturated, especially when you're in low light situations and the tungsten lights are more yellowish. That's where you see more of that coming through from the iPhone, whereas on a Galaxy, the white balancing is much more stronger. You can see that the whites are more white than the iPhones. Now for low light, in terms of just taking pictures on a Galaxy, they used to be a bit slow. You can see that the shutter speed used to be like lagging a little bit, but on S23 it's much faster and improved, even though you can still slightly see it lagging behind just a bit, but is much faster than last year's. Now shooting in pretty much very low lighting or no lights at all, the iPhone is going to be much more darker but cleaner, whereas on a Galaxy you can see more in the shadows, but a bit more noise will be there. So I guess it really depends on which one you like and which one you prefer. Now if you're taking pictures with a moving car or if you're just moving a lot, then there are chances where the Galaxies may be more blurry than iPhones. Now moving on to HDR, I gotta go with the Galaxy just because consistently from what I'm seeing, the shadows are much more brighter, so I can see more details in there. And even though the highlight side can be pushing it, or probably not as controlled as the iPhones, the whole image where the vibrancy, the saturation, everything about it pops. So as an overall image, I do like the Galaxy, whereas an iPhone, as you know, it's more flat. But there are times where the iPhone does show more color than the Galaxies, like this shot right here. And there are times where the Galaxy will do better in the highlights, like this shot here out the window. So it's not always the iPhone will do better or the Galaxy will do better. It depends on the situation and where you're at that time with the camera. Now moving on to telephoto, it's obvious that the Galaxy is going to win in this department because it can zoom all the way up to 100x. Now when shooting 3x is fine, it's not like a huge deal, but once you get to max zoom on the 15x for the iPhone, that's where you can see a lot more noise and all the artifacts coming out. It's not as clean as the Galaxy, obviously, so if you need to zoom in around or more than 15x, then of course pick the Galaxy, since that tool is just more useful for you and more beneficial in your life. Now I don't know how 100x is useful in a lot of people's lives, but for me, I just use it or see it more as a tool to see something very far away, like a sign or something that I need to see in a distance.
That's fine, but it's nothing I would miss. My only friends are the ones I left behind. Wish I could see them just for.
Now moving on to using the Instagram camera app, I do like taking food with that, so this is what you're gonna see. And obviously, clearly the Galaxy is gonna be the winner. It's just in terms of the whole coloring, everything just pops, the whole food pops, it looks way more delicious. The iPhone is just pretty bland and it doesn't look that great. So pictures on food, especially low light, the Galaxy wins by far. And pretty much right after, you're sharing it to your friends or story, so right away it just looks so good without needing to edit. Now moving on to video, usually when you save the clip on Android phones, the first 3 seconds are super pixelated, it doesn't look great. On a Galaxy during daytime is not that bad, they clean it up so well, you can barely see it like on a table, but other than that, it's like very clean right away. You can see more of it in low light where it's only the first second or so, but it's dramatically improved. And if you like to zoom in a lot using your thumb, then on a Galaxy or pretty much on any Android phone, it's super quick and fast, so it's kind of like hard to control the zoom or when to stop. On iPhone, it's very smooth and slow, so it's all self-preference at that point. Now for portrait mode, I got E to help me out, so there's a human behind the phone, so the Galaxy actually looks sharp, because usually I set it on a 10-second timer and run to my spot. That's when I notice the Galaxy tends to miss focus a lot, especially at the 3x option, so if you do have a friend to shoot for you, pick that over using the timer. But anyways, I do like the iPhone's 1x, 2x, and 3x, whereas on the Galaxy it's only 1x and 3x. So when you're indoors, 3x is kind of hard to use because you need a lot of space. 2x is perfect for indoors and outdoors, and 1x is pretty much like a whole body like picture. So on the Samsung, it feels like you have two extreme options. Now for the 3x side of things, I do like the iPhones where the background is more compressed. It looks like it's using like a longer lens, so it's closer to like a portrait picture. But let me know your thoughts on these two phones and which one you prefer to use. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.